Okay class, no? Good day. So for today, I'll be discussing the concept of accounts receivable. In the previous chapters or videos, no, I have discussed cash and cash equivalents and bank reconciliation. So we'll now be proceeding with the next line item class. Okay? So kindly check your book, no? And please proceed to the chapter related to accounts receivable. Okay? As we discuss the learning objectives, no? Okay. First learning objective class. Ano sabi dito, no? To know the classification and presentation of receivable. Okay. So, una sa lahat class, no? Let's define receivable. So, ano bang ibig sabihin ng receivable class? Pag sinabi kasing receivable, no? This is a financial asset, no? A financial asset, no? That represents contractual right, no? Right, okay, to receive cash or other financial asset. Okay. Simply stated, class, so please be reminded that receivable is a financial asset, no, class, similar to cash. And please take note, class, that receivable, no, simply stated, this refers to your claims. No, this refers to your claims against customers, suppliers, other persons. Okay, class, related to your business or not. Now, class, no, regarding the classification and presentation of receivable, based on the learning objective, class, no, the classification of receivables, no, dalawa. Una, we have the trade receivables. Okay? Next, we have the non-trade receivables. Now, class, what is the difference between the two? When we say trade receivables, class, no, these are claims, no, arises from, no, in the ordinary course of business. In the ordinary course of business. Ibig sabihin, class, no, you have recorded these trade receivables because of the sale of goods and services. In the ordinary course of business means recurring transactions by the company, no, from time to time. Let's say day-to-day transactions. No, in the case of a service provider, your receivables pertain to sale of services. In the case of manufacturing or merchandising businesses, this refers to your sale of merchandise. Okay? Now, class, when we say non-trade receivables naman, this is the opposite of trade receivables. So, these are claims, no, not in the ordinary course of business. Okay? Not in the ordinary course of business. Okay, class? Para mas maintindihan natin itong dalawa, class, no, allow me to provide examples. Okay? So, what are good examples of trade receivables? Number one, we have the accounts receivable. So, this is our chapter for today, no? Accounts receivable. Okay, so this represents your oral right, no, to receive, no, cash or other financial asset from your customers. Now, next would be your notes receivable. Okay, class, no? Your notes receivable. So, ito naman, class, no, I'll be discussing this to you in the later, no, topics or chapters that we will be having, no? For the non-trade receivables, actually, no, your author of your book provided you so many examples of non-trade receivables. Just, no, stick to the principle that all transactions or claims, no, in the ordinary course of business, trade receivable yan. So, ang test na lang dito, klase, how often do you recognize or record these claims? Okay? Kung madalas yan, that could be classified into trade receivables. If not, non-recurring, ibig sabihin casual transactions only, non-trade receivables. Yan, class. Ano yung mga examples na to? Mga advances, class, no? To officers, no? To entities, to suppliers, to subsidiaries, etc. or affiliates, no? Etc. Mga advances to. No? So you gave class, no, advance cash to other entities. So non-trade yun. What else? Mga dividends receivable. Okay, class? Okay, dividends receivable, subscription receivable in the case of corporation, no, class? Subscription receivables, other accruals, class, no? And other claims. Okay? And deposits. So these are examples of non-trade. So if I were you, for your understanding of trade and non-trade, dun ka sa mas kukunting examples. Accounts receivable and notes receivable. Okay, sabi niya classification and presentation, di ba, class? Take note, class, no? Receivable has no a separate presentation item in the financial statements. So in the balance sheet, class, no? You present receivables as a single item. Ano yung single item na yun, class? Trade and other receivables. If we have cash and cash equivalents as a separate, no, line item, dito meron din trade and other receivables. Okay, ngayon, class, as no per presentation, class, no, as per presentation, sabi ko nga isang line item lang yan, hindi po ba, class, no, isang line item lang yan. Paano yung presentation niya regarding the classification? So this was not introduced to you in your basic accounting, yung classification of assets, whether current or non-current. Oh, di ba? Cash and cash equivalents, there's no doubt cash and cash equivalents are said to be current. The question here is, how about these trade receivables and not trade receivables? Okay? Take note, class, no? All trade receivables are classified as current assets. Why? Simply because these are related in the ordinary course of business, meaning these are collectible within 1 year. These are convertible into cash within 1 year, or the normal operating cycle, whichever is longer. Okay? Walang problema dyan. Kaya current asset siya. Yun nga lang, class, maging maingat kayo, no? Kapag non-trade receivables yan, class, it could be classified as current assets or non-current assets. Okay? Current assets or non-current assets. So kapag, class, current assets yan, 1 year or normal operating cycle, whichever is longer. Okay? There are companies kasi, class, that have normal operating cycle more than a year. Okay? So, that is still part of your current classification. Okay? Now, for non-current assets, of course, no, beyond 1 year. So, beyond 1 year or normal operating cycle. Beyond. Okay? Okay, so that will be for your first learning objective. No? So take note lang, class. Take note lang. Take note. We are focusing on accounts receivable. Anong classification yan? Trade receivables, current assets. Okay? Regarding the classification of these receivables, single lang yan. Trade and other receivables. Okay? And please, no? Please, before I erase these examples of non-trade receivables, please refer to your book for additional examples. Okay? I don't require you to memorize those, but you have to familiarize yourselves with them. Okay. Before we proceed with the second learning objective class, no? Balikan lang dito sa accounts receivable mo, no? So sa accounts receivable mo, no? Okay. Take note class, no? Kung i-account natin itong accounts receivable mo, anong normal balance niya class? Diba debit? So ito ang normal balance niya, diba? Ngayon class, is there a chance that this accounts receivable will have a credit balance? Similar with the concept of bank overdraft. Di ba sa bank overdraft, class, yun ay mga balances na opposite ng normal balance yan, di ba class? Anong classification mo doon? Sa bank overdraft, current liability, hindi po ba? Ngayon class, accounts receivable, there are also instances in which pwede siyang magkaroon. So ito normal balance na class, debit. So ito normal balance, di ba? Okay. May instance na pwede mag-credit balance yan? Yes. So, yung dito class, no? Kung magkaroon siya ng credit balance, halimbawa lang, no? So, credit balance. For what reason? No? Para saan? No? Para saan? So, ito normal balance, no? Para saan yung credit balance or kailan nagkakaroon yan? This is due to overpayment class. Okay? Overpayment of the customer. O kaya naman, pwede dahil sa returns and discounts. Okay? So, halimbawa, fully paid na si customer, yun nga lang, may sinuli siyang goods. So, in that case, magkaka-credit balance siya. Okay? Ngayon, class, ano yung treatment neto? So, ano yung classification yan? So, take note of this class, ha? The classification of the credit balance of accounts receivable should not be deducted or offset against the normal balance or other receivable accounts. Take note, ang treatment mo dito or classification mo dito would be a current liability. And this is accounted for separately. Okay? Take note of that class, ha? Yung credit balance mo sa isang customer, hindi mo pwedeng i-offset yan sa iba. Okay? Sige class, no? Burahin ko muna to. As we proceed with the second learning objective. So, yan. Ano yung second learning objective mo, class? Okay? To know the initial and subsequent measurement of accounts receivable. Okay. So, ano daw yung initial measurement? Ano? And then, subsequent measurement. Okay, class. Take note, ha, class. Sa ating subject na intermediate accounting, no? In measuring assets, liabilities, you will be encountering these concepts, initial and subsequent measurement. So from this day onwards, no, binibigyan mo ng pansin ito. Kasi pag sinabing initial measurement, yung first recording mo sa books, magkano siya? That's initial measurement. Then after recording it, no, halimbawa, na-record mo yan ngayong araw, at the end of the year, December 31 under calendar year, or in the succeeding years, what is the proper measurement of that asset? So, ang tawag doon, subsequent measurement. Ngayon, class, tandaan nyo, hindi ito inuhula, class, or basta-bastang sinasabi. These are according to certain standards. So, maging maingat tayo. Ngayon, class, no, may sinabi, class, no, yung PFRS 9, no, financial instruments, no, paragraph 5.1.1. Yan, no? Anong sabi ng initial measurement under PFRS 9 paragraph 5.1.1? Ang sabi niya, class, no? Ang sabi niya, yung daw financial asset, ano? Yung daw financial asset should be initially measured ng ano? Fair value plus transaction cost. Diba? Ayan, ganyan siya. Yung subsequent measurement naman, sang sabi ng standard mo, at amortized cost. Okay? At amortized cost. Okay. Ngayon, class, how do we relate this since accounts receivable is a financial asset? Ayan. Diba? Let's relate it, no, with our topic for today. Okay, class? Tandaan, iba yung treatment sa accounts receivable, sa notes receivable, sa loans receivable, etc. Okay? Depende. But those are all financial assets. Ngayon, sa accounts receivable kasi, class, no? Since these are current, no, assets, short-term assets ito, class. Pag sinabi kasing fair value dito, no, transaction cost, fair value, ibig sabihin nito, no, yung kanya mismong transaction price. Okay? Transaction price. Ano yung transaction price na to sa accounts receivable? Kung magkano mong nabenta yung goods or services, that means yung face value ng transaction. Okay? Yun ang fair value. Okay? Halimbawa, nagbenta ka ng goods worth 100,000 pesos. So that is your transaction price. Yun ang face value mo. Yun ang initial measurement. So debit, accounts receivable, 100,000, credit sales, 100,000. Ano naman itong transaction cost, class? Itong mga transaction cost na to, no, hindi ka pa makakarelate sa ngayon yan. Kasi, class, normally, these are being incurred, no, to obtain a loan, let's say, or to lend, no, money, no, to other people. So in this case, this transaction cost, immaterial siya sa accounts receivable natin, but material to other receivables. Let's say loan receivable, no? Also, you don't need to use discounting factors here or present value factors just to measure it initially. Again, short term yan, any difference regarding the interest rate, class, immaterial, irrelevant siya. So, face value, wala kang discount yan. Now, class, regarding the amortized cost, okay, amortized cost for an accounts receivable, class, no? For an accounts receivable, tandaan mo, this is your net realizable value. Okay? So, net realizable value. Pag sinabing net realizable value, this is your net recoverable amount. Meaning to say, this is the net expected amount to be received from the client or customer. Magkano na lang? So, take note of the word net realizable value. The question here is, how do we compute for the net realizable value? Okay? So, that pertains to your next learning objective. Ano ba yung next learning objective mo dito, class? Ang sabi niya, to identify the adjustments necessary in determining the net realizable value of accounts receivable. Hindi po ba, class? So, ano nga ba yung mga yon? Okay? So, let's start with number 1. Allowance for freight charges. Okay? So, ano nga ba itong allowance for freight charge? Actually, no, na-mention na itong freight charge na ito sa inyo sa learning material mo regarding the concept of the inventory. Yung mga different terms like FOB shipping point, destination, prepaid collect, and yung isa prepaid, freight collect, saka freight prepaid, no? Okay. Ngayon, class, no? Tandaan. Ayoko kasing i-advance muna kayo dun sa konsepto na yun kasi that will be discussed further, no, in inventory. But just take note, okay? The company is setting up an allowance for freight charge under FOB destination, but freight collect. So take note of that term muna. FOB destination, but freight collect. Okay? Itutuglong natin yan in the future. Okay? So yung portion ng allowance, i-deduct mo yan for freight charge. What else? Allowance for sales returns. So these are just estimates, no? Based on historical data. Now in this case, the company, no, class, is establishing a certain amount or percentage that is presumed to be collected, no, by the company in the form of sales return. So next would be allowance for sales discounts. Okay? So another thing, no, this is also an estimate. Now, bakit halos pinasadahan ko mo itong tatlo, class? Kasi alam nyo ba, in actual practice, di naman to talaga pinapantay, hindi naman talaga to sinasali. What is more important, yung pang-apat na pag-uusapan natin mamaya at sa susunod na topic discussion natin. Ano yun? Yung allowance for bad debts. No? Ito kasi, class, yung madalas na nagpapababa sa halaga ng accounts receivable initially at face value down to net realizable value. For reason that we cannot expect 100% collection in all of our receivables. Just to ask you, class, naranasan nyo na bang magpautang? Yes, di ba? Ang tanong, lahat na ba ng pinautangan mo nagbayad sa'yo? Hindi ka ba naka-experience ng hindi nagbabayad? Siyempre, no? At some point in your life, talagang merong hindi nagbabayad ng utang. In that case, we call it as allowance for bad debts. Bad debts na yung tawag doon. Parang halimbawa, hiniram ng magulang mo yung aginaldo mo nung bata ka. Sabi niya, susuli niya rin. But later on, you realize, hindi na sinole. Ang tawag doon, bad debts. Okay? So mamaya, pag-uusapan natin itong allowance for bad debts. But just, no, for the third learning objective, how do you compute for the adjustments of the receivable down to net realizable value is deduct allowance for freight charge, allowance for sales returns, allowance for sales discount, and allowance for bad debts down to your net realizable value. Okay? Kung wala yung iba dyan, ignore it. Okay? One thing is for sure, ang meron dyan at the minimum, yung allowance for bad debts. But in practice, ito lang talaga. Okay? Practically speaking. Okay? Sige. So now let's proceed with your next learning objective. Ano ba yung susunod, class? Ang sabi dito, ano? To understand the gross method and net method of recording credit sales. Again, to understand the gross method and net method of recording credit sales. Okay? So, burahin ko muna ito, class, no? Sabi niya, to understand the gross method and net method of recording credit sales. Diba? Class? So, ito yung credit sales mo. Ano? Ito yung credit sales, class. Ayan. So, pag sinabing credit sales, no? Going back to your merchandising concern topic, no? Concepts. So, merchandise business. Credit sales is different from cash sales. Sinabing cash sales, sales class, no, paid, no, by the customers upon getting the inventory, purchasing, no, the inventory. Now, for credit sales, no, simply stated, this is your sales on account. Diba? Pautang mo. Okay. Yung credit sales daw, class natin, no, uses two methods. We have the gross method, okay, and we have the net method. Okay, para hindi ka mahirapan, class, okay, para hindi ka mahirapan, I'll give you an example. O, dito na, so bibigyan na ako ng example dito na, class, kung ano pinagkaiba ng gross method sa net method. Okay, example, no? Company no? X, kay company X, sold, okay, 1 million pesos goods on account. Okay? On account. Tapos may nakasulat siyang terms. So terms, sabi niya, no? 3/10. Okay, 3/10. Tapos M/30. Okay. So, walang duda, credit sales yan. On account. Okay. Ano nga ba itong terms na 3/10 and tsaka N/30? I know na hindi na ito bago sa inyo sa merchandising business. Pag sinabing 3/10 as a term, 3% discount within 10 days. So, if the customer pays you within 10 days, the customer is entitled to 3% discount. Now, if no payment was made within 10 days, then within the next 20 days, after the 10th day class, magbabayad siya, but without discount privilege. Beyond 30 days, default na yung customer. Di ba? So, pwede ka na magkaroon ng provision for bad debts doon. Okay. So, paano din i-differentiate itong dalawa? Okay? Actually, class, yung difference kasi nila dito, how to account transactions pertaining to the terms related to discount. So, discount terms at ito, di ba? Ayan. So, as I differentiate these two methods, class, let's have 3 transactions or 3 scenarios to record with from this transaction. To record sale. Ayan, to record sale. Okay, to record sale. Transaction. Okay? O yan ang una. Pangalawa, to record collection within discount period. Okay? Pangatlo, to record collection beyond discount period. Okay, class na. Tingnan nyo class. So, mag-iiba sila, tandaan nyo class na. Dun sa mga transactions na i-journalize natin dito. Okay, yung second tsaka third class, different scenario yon. Yung isa, within discount period. Yung isa, beyond discount period. Di ba, class? Okay? So, let's record the sale transaction. On account siya. So, debit, accounts receivable, di ba? Credit sales. Ayan, dapat kaya ang entry mo, di ba? Debit, accounts receivable. Okay lang ba? Usod ko ng konti itong net method para ma-maximize lang natin yung space natin. So, yan dito yung net method mo, no? Debit, accounts receivable, ayan na class, credit sales. Alam niyo ba bakit tinawag na gross method to? At bakit tinawag na net method to, class? Kasi initially, hindi sila pareho ng nire-recognize na accounts receivable. Sa gross method, i-recognize niya without regard to the discount, 1 million. So, hindi niya muna nilook forward yung discount. At gross muna. Okay? At gross muna. Sa net method, class, medyo advanced mag-isip to. So, yung kanya class, net of 3% discount. In that case, what is 3% of 1 million? 30,000. So, ang recording niya dito, class, 970,000. So, hindi ba kulang yun? Actually, hindi. Kasi, ina-anticipate niya na magbabayad within discount period si client. Okay? Yun ang pinagkaiba ng gross tsaka net method. Okay? First step. No? Second, let's record collection within discount period. So, kapag within discount period sa class, magkano yung collection mo? So, debit, cash. Diba? Debit, cash. Is it 1 million or 970,000? 970. Kasi nga, within discount period, within the 10 days period na. So, debit cash, 970,000. Credit cash, 970,000. Hindi po ba? So, anong i-credit mo? Since you collected the receivable, you have to eliminate it. No? So, credit accounts receivable. Diba? 970,000. Ano? 970,000. Di ba, class? Okay. Ano napansin mo? Ay, sorry. Pag 970 lang to. The entire receivable amounted to 1 million. Di ba, class? 1 million siya. Kasi ito, 1 million yung balance mo dito. Di ba? Sir, may difference sa 30,000 sa debit. O, ito yung sales discount, no? Ito yung sales discount mo. Cash discount mo tong 30,000. And this is a contra sales account. Okay? Sa income statement mo. O, tignan mo tong sa kabila. Sa kanya, mas simple na lang. Credit accounts. Ayan, credit accounts receivable 970,000 class. Kasi, initially, debt na yung ginawa niya. Diba? Okay po? Pero in terms of collection, parehas lang. Diba? Hindi lang pareho ng method ng pag-record. So, ito naman. Ito naman ang bago. Paano naman kung... So, let's have a separate scenario or a new scenario class, no? So, what if naman? What if nagbayad siya class beyond discount period? So, 11th day thereafter. Okay? So, mababayaran na lang ni customer dito, hindi lang 970, but the entire 1 million. So, debit cash, 1 million. Credit accounts receivable, 1 million. No discount granted, di ba? 1 million. Ayan, sir. Okay? Eh, sir, paano to? Paano to, sir? Di ba ang babayaran sa kanya 1 million? Okay. Tignan mo to, class. 1 million yan, di ba? So, credit mo, accounts receivable. Tignan nyo to, class. Yung accounts receivable niya, okay? 970 lang. Ayun, o. So, yung 30,000, saan mo kukunin yun? That's another account item. Sales discount forfeited. Again, anong tawag doon? Sales discount forfeited. Sir, ano po yung treatment sa sales discount forfeited? Other income. No? Other income ng company yan. Okay? Other income. Kung titignan mo, other income dito ng 970, that's 30,000 plus 970, 1 million. Parehas lang dito sales na 1 million dito. Ang effect, pareho lang. Okay? Yes, iba lang yung account title doon. So that's the difference between a gross method and a net method. Okay, class? Yoo-hoo! Okay? So now let's proceed with, I think, the last learning objective. Are you still with me, class? Yoo-hoo! Uy! Ano yung sumunod, class? Sabi dito, no? To know the accounting for doubtful accounts, worthless accounts, written off, and recovery. No? So again, to know the accounting for doubtful accounts, worthless accounts, written off, and recovery. Okay, no? So, ganito muna, class, to. So, yung allowance for bad debts. Sorry. So, yung ating doubtful accounts, class, no? Yung mga doubtful accounts natin. No? Di ba, class, nangyayari yan because of the accounts receivable, di ba? So, dahil to sa accounts receivable mo. Sa AR mo, di ba, class? So, ngayon, yung doubtful accounts or bad debts at what we call, no? There are two methods, no, na ginagamit or two approaches sa doubtful accounts. We have this, no, allowance method. And we have this what we call direct write-off method. Direct write-off method. Ayan. Okay? As I mentioned earlier, bakit may doubtful accounts? You can't expect 100% collection, no, of your receivables. So may porsyento dyan, may certain amount dyan, i-establish ng company to anticipate for non-payment, okay, or bad debts. Okay, class? So in that case, kailangan tayo mag-establish ng doubtful accounts. Ngayon, may dalawang method. Sabi ng learning objective mo, pag-usapan daw natin, class, yung tungkol sa provision, no, or yung mismong doubtful accounts, yung worthless accounts, no? Worthless accounts, and lastly, yung tinatawag nilang recovery, di ba? So, linawin muna natin, class. Linawin muna natin. Bago natin pag-usapan, ano yung sa allowance method, ano yung sa direct write-off method, let's differentiate provision, worthless, and recovery. Tandaan nyo, class. Pag sinabing provision, this just pertains to estimates. No? Estimates. So sa tingin mo, ilang porsyento kaya ng ating receivables ang hindi mababayaran? So that is just an estimate. Ang tawag doon, provision. Okay? Pag sinabi namang worthless accounts, no? Proven to be uncollectible. So that means actual. In reality, may di talaga makakapagbayad. Hindi na nagbayad. Hindi makakapagbayad. No? For some reason. Halimbawa, na-bankrupt yung customer mo. Namatay yung customer mo without leaving assets. No? What else? Nakulong yung customer mo. Okay? Naging siya incapacitated. And without leaving any amount of assets. O yung i-write off mo na yun. No? Worthless accounts na yun. Okay, class, ano naman itong recovery? Itong recovery, class. Ganito yan. No? Pag sinabing recovery, these are accounts previously written off but recovered. No? These are accounts previously written off but recovered. Paano yan, sir? Paano ba yung recovery? Okay? Ito yung mga bagay na binaon mo na sa limot, pero bumalik. Okay? O nakolekta mo. No? Parang halimbawa lang, no? Parang kung ihalin tulad mo sa pag-ibig, para yung taong ginos ka, no? Iniwan ka sa ere, so binaon mo sa limot, yun nangyari. Tapos, here comes this person, bumabalik. No? Nag-recover. Kaya no? Biglang ngayon, no? Biglang sumulpot, ano? Ganun din sa pagpapautang, no? May mga pautang ka na binaon mo na sa limot, that's write-off, worthless accounts. And then, biglang magbabayad, no? Na-realize ng client mo, ay! Kaawawa naman yung nagpautang sa akin, binayaran ka, ano? Naawa pa siya sa'yo, ano, class? Sana all, ano? Nagbabayad ng utang. Ang tawag doon, recovery, no? Binaon mo na sa limot, nagbayad, biglang nagbayad. Okay? So, na, class? So, ngayon, differentiate natin ng dalawa. Okay, makinig. Yung allowance method, tandaan niyo, class. Estimate ang focus nito. So, estimates. So, ito namang direct write-off method, actual amounts. Paano yun? Kapag allowance method, upon provision, may entry na siya kagad. So, ang entry niya dito, class, debit bad debts. No? Debit bad debts or doubtful accounts expense. credit allowance for bad debts or allowance for doubtful accounts. Okay? Ayan. So may establishment ng allowance, kaya allowance method. Sa direct write-off method, nagkaroon lang ng provision, ng estimate, no entry. Okay? Not applicable kasi to. Ba't ako mag-provide ng allowance? Write-off lang eh. Pag lang meron na. Okay? Doon lang siya. Okay, class? Sa worthless accounts naman, anong entry mo? Sa allowance method, halimbawa, ganito, ano? Ay! It was proven that this amount is already uncollectible. Proven. No? Pag sinabing proven, i-write off mo na. Ano ang entry kapag write off? China-charge mo na siya sa accounts receivable. So, credit accounts, no? Receivable. Okay? Credit accounts receivable. Yan, na credit accounts receivable, no? Okay? Paano yung debit mo dyan? Ang debit mo dyan, class, kakancel mo itong allowance for bad debt. So, debit allowance for bad debts. Kaya, no? So, kinancel mo na to, no? Yung dati mong in-estimate, pinatunayan mo, ika-cancel mo na. Kapag kasi worthless na yan, ikakaltas mo na sa AR mismo, sa receivable itself. Dito naman, class, ang entry niya, debit, bad debts. So, dito pa lang siya magkakaroon ng expense. Okay? Mas procedural itong allowance method sa direct write-off. No? So, doon lang siya mag-recognize ng bad debts kapag may write-off. Dito, upon allowance, provision, meron na. Okay? So, ito sa recovery, anong procedure na gagawin mo? Okay? Itabi muna ito, class, ha? Tandaan nyo, sa recovery, kailangan muna, class, no? Magkaroon muna ng, first procedure mo dito, magkaroon ka muna ng reestablishment. Reestablishment of receivable or AR. And then you record the collection. Anong ibig sabihin? I-recharge mo muna yung balance niya. Kasi ganito, di ba sabi ko sa inyo, pag ni-write off mo na yung account, binaon mo sa limot, kinancel mo na yung AR, eh nagbabayad siya. Ang tanong, meron ka bang records to customer default na? Yung defaulted customer mo na ni-write off mo na, class, may record ka pa ba dito na balance niya? Wala na. O paano mo i-record yung collection kung hindi mo i-re-establish yung AR niya? Anong ibig sabihin nun? Class, anong ibig sabihin nun? So, i-revert back mo to. So, mangyayari, reversal. So, meron kang reverse entry. So, debit accounts receivable. So, ibabalik mo, class, yung AR na previously written off, no? Isasoli mo muna. Tapos, credit allowance for bad debts. Okay? Then, you collect receivable. Debit cash, credit accounts, receivable. Okay, class? Yuhu. Ano napansin mo? In effect, class, kung kinancel mo yung debit tsaka credit, ang effect ng recovery, debit cash, credit, allowance for bad debts. Debit cash, credit, allowance for bad debts. Pinaminus na, ano? Okay? Hello, class? Now, next. Paano kapag direct write-off? Re-reverse mo to. So, debit, accounts receivable, credit, bad debts. Okay? And then, debit, cash, credit, accounts receivable. So, in effect, debit, cash, bad debts. Okay, class? Yuhu! Uy! Na? So, ganyan ang epekto niya. Ano? Class? So, babantayan mo, class. Walang problema sa provision eh. Yung isa din nag-record, yung isa nag-record sa allowance method. Sa worthless accounts naman, class, i-reverse mo yung allowance for bad debts na previously nagkaroon ka ng provision. Direkta sa AR. Pag worthless, credit AR. Ayan, no? Sa kanya, magbabalance mo na. Pag recovery, reestablish mo lang yung munang AR niya. Kung anong entry mo ng worthless account, reverse mo lang. Then you enter collection. So to sum up the effect of recovery, under allowance method, it increases cash, and then increases allowance for bad debts under allowance method. Okay? Under the direct write-off method class, increases cash, decreases bad debts. Okay, class? Ngayon, no? Burahin ko to, class, burahin ko to, no? Tanungin kita kayo, class. So while I'm erasing this, give it a question, no? Is there an allowance for doubtful accounts balance under the direct write-off method? Well, tandaan nyo, class. Kapag write-off method, wala kang allowance for bad debts kasi hindi siya nagkakaroon ng provision, class. Okay? So just in case may nakitang allowance for bad debts, that means, anong method ginamit niya? Allowance method. Okay? Allowance method. So ngayon, class, patapos na tayo actually. No? Yun na yung last learning objective natin. Ngayon, class, no? For computation purposes, no? Since we're done discussing the important topics, class, gusto ko lang, no? Bigyan ko ng konting, no? Parang guide lang. Guide. So, ano yung guide mo, class? Dalawang accounts, no? In dealing with AR transactions. Ano yan? So, let's have the accounts receivable class of the account and the allowance for bad debts the account. Okay? So, ano yan, class? So, halimbawa, dito sa accounts receivable class, no? Take note. We have the beginning balance. So, beginning, normal balance yan. And then we have what, no? Sales on account. Gross sales. Okay? Less collections credit. Less collections credit. Okay? And then, less sales returns and allowances. Di ba, class? Less sales discounts. Ano yung huli? Write-off. Write-off decreases your receivable. So just in case tanungin ka, class, magkano ang ending balance niya, you just have to use this account. So just in case tanungin ka, class, magkano ang sales on account sa'yo, mag-squeezing ka. Okay? So kung may pababa kang computation, pwede ka magpataas na computation. Okay? Kung pababa ang computation, class, debits less credits, that's your ending balance. Okay? Pag pataas na computation, the ending balance, i-add mo yung mina-minus mo and less mo yung nasa debits. Kapag pababa, you follow the normal operation. Add, minus. Dito naman, class, baliktad. Add, minus. Kasi squeezing ka pataas. Okay? Dito naman next natin, actually, sa next topic ito, or next chapter ng book nito, class, yung doubtful accounts. Di ba? Yung doubtful accounts. So, just in case lang, no? Kumbaga, para lang din meron ka ng idea. So, sa allowance for bad debts mo, normal balance yan beginning. Okay? So, it could be, class, no? The balance forwarded coming from the previous year. And then you have to add the doubtful accounts expense or the bad debts. Yung provision to, class, yung provision. Yung provision or doubtful accounts expense na, class. Ano yung nagbabawas sa allowance for bad debts? Number 1, class, yung write-off. Diba? Yung write-off. Okay? Ngayon, class, anong sinabi ko kanina dito? Diba, under allowance method, kapag merong recovery, ayan, it increases your allowance for doubtful accounts. Tandaan mo, ang recovery walang effect sa AR. Kasi ibabalik mo siya doon, i-less mo din. Unless the recovery class is included in the collections. Kapag yung recovery nasa collections class, maglagay ka ng recovery sa kaliwa. Tandaan nyo, dapat no effect yan. So, dapat tandaan nyo, class, collections here pertains to net of recovery. Okay, excluding recovery. Okay, class? So, this is your ending balance. Okay, class? This is your ending balance. Okay, class? So, now, before I conclude, class, no? This was mentioned by the author, no, sa libro niya, yung classification ng doubtful accounts expense. Yung classification niya, it could be distribution cost or general and administrative expense. Yung distribution cost cost class or selling expense or distribution cost classification sa income statement class, this is not considered as a classification of bad debts only if the bad debts class is under the control or charged by the sales officer. But if this is under the responsibility of an officer other than the sales officer or marketing officer, halimbawa finance officer, admin officer, general and administrative expense yan. No, kasi the problem is silent. You classify bad debts not on distribution costs or selling expense, but based on general and administrative expenses. Okay? So class, no, that would be for your accounts receivable topic. Yung susunod na video natin yan class, which is just a short video for the doubtful accounts, no, yung ibang mga methods ng computation. Okay? So, do not hesitate to message me if you have some concerns, class, no? God bless us all, no? Magiging CPA kayo, no? Soon.